Are you guys ready to put a big fat bow on this 3-part episode with co-founder of Alive and Running Iowa, Ryan Nesbit?
Okay, sure.
Let's do this. On this final part of Ryan's episode, they bring it home by talking about the struggles we all face. Struggles with money, mental health, and those annoying dogs that bark every time Bubba is recording.
Shoot, I can fix that.
Appreciate the offer, Phil, but I'm not in the mood to deal with lawsuits. Anyway, back on topic. Ryan shares some unconventional, yet tried and true advice about what to do when we stress about money. He also claims to have never taken a selfie.
What?
Maybe that's not such a bad thing.
You know we're gonna see him at church on Sunday.
Relax, baby. Ryan knows we're joking. At least I hope he does. The guys also discuss how mental health battle is going in terms of anxiety, depression, and suicide. We've got work to do, folks. People are the best resources to help other people. But if you are struggling silently, then please call or text the Crisis Lifeline at 988. You are worth it. Here's your host, Bubba Seaman.
Yes, welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for the cheering and the applause. My goodness, it sounds like we have an actual live studio audience, but that's the beauty of royalty-free sound effects, isn't it? Yeah, it makes it look like we're professional, but we're not. We're just hanging out in my basement. But we are going to get to part 3, the finale, with Ryan Nesbit right now. This is his What Is Up segment. Even though we covered pretty much all the real heavy stuff that Ryan's real passionate about, alive and running, mental health, and all the ways people can get help through that. So one thing I definitely wanted to ask you, a couple questions since you're in this field, is what do you think about the effectiveness of counseling, therapy? I'm not sure what the difference is between the two, but how do you think it's working?
Well, don't start going PhD level on me because you know me.
Right.
Ryan Nesbit didn't graduate college.
No doctorate.
Doctorate
right.
in high school. I don't know how I passed, but I did. I tell a lot of people I have a master's in life.
There you go.
I have no letters after my last name, but I've met too many people that have lots of letters, and I have no idea what they're talking about when they're trying to help people. I think every human needs counseling, but in different forms. So we have mental health therapists, we have counselors, we have psychiatrists, psychologists. If you need that level of help, get it, please.
Right.
But I also believe counseling is having an adult male relationship where you actually talk about real stuff.
Okay.
To me, that's counseling.
Okay.
So I have plenty of counselors and therapists, but I'm not paying anyone.
Right.
I just talk to my pastor, my wife, some of my buddies, maybe my dad sometimes. Maybe I pray. So there's I should probably do these things more, my wife would tell you. But I think a lot of people, when they hear the words counseling or therapy, they kind of tense up and, oh my gosh, how much is that going to cost? And now everyone's going to talk bad about us. And
yeah.
No, go get the help. Please, we all need help, including me. Trust me, I need help. We're just coming out of high school girls basketball season. I need to go run some more. I've been running a lot of stress, etc. But if you at the level that you need to go to a professional counselor or therapist, my message is do it.
Absolutely.
For sure do it. But the problem in Iowa, where we're at, is you're going to be waiting a while. We are a terrible state for mental health. We're about 46 out of 50, 51. They count D.C. Bed accessibility, number of psychiatrists, psychologists. Iowa's one of the worst.
Really?
By very bad state. I mean, going back to 1991, when Roger died by suicide, I needed to go stay at a hospital in the mental health wing, and I had to wait. And that's 33 years ago?
Yeah.
And that's like 100 times worse now. I hear stories from people all the time. They can't have access to a bed because there are not enough beds. So you get shipped all over the state or you get shipped out of state. But if you need counseling or therapy, make the appointment. You might be waiting 2 months until your first appointment. And then in the time between, connect with your pastor. Call or text 988. Find Alive and Running Iowa.
Yeah.
Talk to a real friend about real stuff. So all of us can kind of be counselors and therapists. I can't prescribe pills.
Right.
I don't have letters after my name, and I never will.
Gotcha.
But we can counsel each other. That's what we should do, especially as followers of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
We should be taking care of each other. And I'm kind of skipping ahead. I'll wait on the depression thing because I have a big point about that with Jesus. Okay. So I believe in counseling and therapy. I know some people have been burned by it, but that's the same with everything.
Yeah. No, I hear you. We know some good counselors and stuff. And by nature, every pastor should be able to offer counseling, biblical counseling and stuff. And yeah, I mean, that's what do we read in Isaiah 9:6? For a child will be born to us, a son will be given to us, and the government will rest on his shoulders. His name will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Eternal Father, Prince of Peace. Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Eternal Father, Prince of Peace. If I'm struggling mentally, sign me up for those things. Like, that's who I want to talk to. So, yeah, maybe, like you said, if we're such a bad state as far as the accessibility to resources, start there. Reach out to your local church. Your pastor should be able to provide some counseling. Alive and Running has opportunities for resources, at least get you in touch with the right people. Get your name on the list if there's a wait. What I think the stigma's gone now. It should be gone. It wasn't there when you were struggling. The stigma was definitely there. That was just a whole nother world 30 years ago, whatever, 40 years ago. It's not there anymore. People understand that mentally there's only so much we can handle and we need help. So there shouldn't be the stigma of reaching out saying, I just need to talk to somebody. Maybe you don't need medicine. Maybe you don't have a chemical imbalance. Maybe you do, but definitely, pursue that path. I think the worst thing people can do is just keep it in. Keep it in.
Oh, you're talking right at me and pretty much all adult men. That was my big struggle in early adulthood is I'm tough and I'll just
can handle it,
scrunch it down and I'm good because we don't talk about this stuff. We're Iowans, we're farm boys, we're tough. Ugh. I was almost gone.
Yeah, how'd that work for you?
From this planet. And I'm not perfect now. I'm sure my wife will listen to this and be like, they should have let me come on there for a couple minutes. Yeah.
Still got some work to do.
But you got to let that stuff out, whether it's talking to someone, whether it's running. I've been running a lot.
Right.
And I'm running well. And it is very helpful, whether it's praying, if you believe in Jesus and that he died for you and that there is a God, you're supposed to pray all the time.
Yeah.
Pray continually. I don't pray near as much as I should, but man, I do a lot of 7-second prayers throughout the day.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
A lot.
Staying connected all day long. Yeah, I got you.
And they're just quick. And that's good.
Yeah.
And he answers eventually. I feel like he's always listening. There's not lightning bolts that flash down or anything.
Right.
I haven't seen that, but it makes me feel stronger when I'm talking. He's supposed to be my best friend. Why wouldn't I talk to him all the time?
Right. Yeah, he wants us to connect with him all the time. And somebody, I think it was a good pastor, made that description to me one time. Like he's there waiting. How many times in a day did you connect with him? And it's like your best friend waiting for a phone call or something. And he's just sitting by the phone and you never call. And that's all he wants is for you to call. And it's like, yeah, that's a good way to do it. And so that's kind of how, that was one of the big motivators for me to start with in the morning. Just spend a little bit of time in the Word of God or start a devotion because you have no distractions yet. Your mind isn't full of any stressors yet. And it kind of, like you said, if you're going to connect with God throughout the day, you got to start on the right foot kind of thing. And that's been big for me too. It kind of sets your mind right for the day, no matter what comes at you kind of thing. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, I guess. All right. So if the stigma is kind of mostly removed of people needing help, I mean, it's way more talked about now. If you need help, get help, reach out to a friend, mentorship and things like that. I mean, that's not really the same thing, but that's kind of like like having people in your life to help guide you. And, the church is big on that too, as far as like accountability, especially you should understand that male accountability. Guys should kind of hold us accountable. If we're starting to stray a little bit, your brothers are supposed to say, hey man, what's going on? It's not just you do you kind of thing. That's not how it works. We get in trouble that way. But if the stigma's gone as far as reaching out for help and people are getting more help, how would you say, conditions, have they improved or not as far as depression, anxiety, suicide, just all around mental health? If it's now out there to get help if you need help, has that made things better?
It's out there. Stigma's not gone. We've made progress.
Okay.
There's always going to be stigma, though.
True.
Especially adult men. I'm not going to go talk about my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, you got my number, man. I said it on here. It's
Yep.
on websites because that usually doesn't end well. Anxiety, depression, suicide rates are going up. Suicide rate in 2023, the only info I could find was it said 50,000 with a plus sign by it. So that data is always way behind, but 50,000 plus is the most people ever in the U.S. in a year.
Unbelievable.
So the suicide is the highest ever in the U.S. Anxiety, depression. I mean, this stuff was around 30, 40, 50 years ago. It just didn't really have a name. There's tons of people that have anxiety or anxious. That's fine. I get anxious too.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
And depression. I've been depressed too. It's just we need to know our resources, seek help. Well, you're going, this guy just said 6 minutes ago that you have to wait 2 months to get to a counselor. You got to find other resources then.
Yeah.
Is it your faith? Is it 988? Do you have a connection at your church?
Yep.
Is there some neighbor in your town that you're like, man, that guy always listens to me, or that lady will take time? Then go talk to them.
Right.
You have to be willing to open up. But I think anxiety, depression, suicide are going to just get worse. That's our world, man. It's an ugly world. Is Alive and Running Iowa, Ryan Nesbit, the whole team, all these people going to keep fighting to help people every single day?
Yeah.
I think that's why we're on this planet.
Yep.
But I fully understand we can't save every life. People are still going to die by suicide. People are going to be anxious. People are going to be depressed. But anyone we come in contact with, we're going to try to help. That's a fact. We're going to try to help as many as we can. But a big part of that is they have to come.
They have to speak out. Yeah, that's
say, hey, man, or whoever, Belmer, Nesbit, your whole team, all these people, can you help me, please?
But and so people might be willing to speak out. They might not. They might say, no way, I'm not, because then that would make it official. Once I speak out about it, it's official. I need help, or I can't handle it, or whatever. But if they reach out to their parent or their coworker or something and say, hey, they might know, well, hey, I know Alive and Run. You know what I mean? You don't have to necessarily come right to the top or whatever. Speak to somebody, start getting this stuff off your chest, or let somebody know you're struggling. I would imagine the avenues are going to start to open up and lead to places of help, whether it's church, Alive and Running. Who else is there? I know in Waterloo, it's like Black Hawk Grundy Mental Health. Is there any ones other than that around here that people could reach out to?
In Waterloo, Cedar Falls, both hospitals have mental health beds, but not very many.
Right.
I mean, it's a big area. There's Pathways, there's Black Hawk Grundy Mental Health, there's Elevate Behavioral Health. There's a lot of resources in the Cedar Valley. Look in your yellow pages.
Oh,
man.
my gosh. He dated himself.
It's 2024, man. There's a lot of resources, but a big resource that I put at the end of a 2-hour class I teach, the last 2 words they see on the whole screen out of a whole bunch of PowerPoint slides says resource each other.
Okay.
So that means in this world, if you're 48 like me, I'm a young 48, so stick with me. I can run further than probably anyone listening to this. I hope someone steps up and says, I ran 100-miler, Nesbit, eat it.
See you in June.
Right. So I'm 48 or whatever you are, late 20s, early 30s, or whether this is some Wapsie Valley high school kid listening.
Yeah.
The message is you got to surround yourself in life with good people.
Yeah.
So if you're a teenager, really think about who you hang with. Is it to make you look better, or is it because this group has my back? Mm-hmm. If you're an adult, oh man, Facebook. I got so many stories right now, but we don't have time. Are all your friends Facebook friends, or do you have real friends?
Yeah.
Like if your dog dies, I'm in Bubba's house, there's multiple dogs. If one of your dogs were to die, is it just some prayer hands on Facebook, or does someone like come to your house, Bubba, and say, oh, I'm so sorry, I know you loved your dog. You got to really think about that in life. Mm-hmm. Is this just fake surface level? These people got my back, or is it, whoa, they came over and they brought food and they hugged me.
Yep.
You got to have real people in your life, because life's going to have some struggles.
Yep.
For sure. So whatever age and stage you are, really try to surround yourself with real people. And this is a challenge to the church too, that we need to do better. For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
You got me rolling. What? I could talk all day, but we're supposed to keep this short.
Yeah.
It gets me excited, man.
So an example I had was, like, I always try and make the distinction between Hollywood and real life for my kids. And I let them know, hey, success, the social media lifestyle, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. You see the perfect in people. You don't see any of the mess. You see people striving to be just super successful, whether it's wealthy or fame or fortune, whatever. And then look at all the celebrities, look at all the athletes that don't know how to handle that. I mean, they end up so messed up financially, mentally, all that stuff. The Robertson family, I came across this. I follow them pretty closely. Duck Dynasty, hit TV show. And all their kids were pretty young at the time. And I listened to, they all have multiple podcasts, but a real good one that's actually like Bible study based is Unashamed. And that's with Phil, Jace, and Al. And they tell good, funny stories and all that too, but they always still work through Scripture. And it kind of provides counseling. I mean, it's good stuff. Jace opened up and said it came to a point in their house last year. So their kids are all grown up now. I think the youngest one is 18, the one that had the cleft lip and palate. They had issues. They had major issues that were simmering from being in the spotlight, being, the most popular at school, all kinds of image things. And it came to a point that as adults, they had to do a weekend in-home, I don't know what you'd call that, like it was a session, but it was like this counselor came to their house for the entire weekend, and they just dealt with all this stuff from when they were younger, and they started seeing, warning signs of how it had affected them and things like that. And mom and dad really didn't understand. They kind of thought that part of their life was beyond them, and here they're now adults, and they said it was the best thing they could ever have done to bring that, get that stuff out, get those feelings out, all that kind of stuff, deal with it. And it took them like a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday, which is unheard of. I mean, that's 72 hours of in-home counseling. Most people, I imagine, they get like a week or an hour a week or something with a therapist or something like that. This was an intensive. And they said it was tremendous. And here these guys had it all together. They're proclaiming Jesus on TV. Life is good. They're making money. They're sharing Jesus. The glamorous lifestyle, being the coolest, most popular on Instagram. It's not about the likes. I like how you put that. But this is the world they're growing up in. We didn't have that. We had the dial-up internet and chat rooms. And I don't even know if chat rooms were around when you were in high school or not. They were when I was. They weren't when you were in high school? That was all we had. Now it's everything is image and likes and shares, and I do understand it can be harmful. So I like what you're saying about that. Speak up, reach out, even if you don't know where to go or whatever. Start the conversation. Eventually, we'll get to these places: Alive and Running, Blackhawk Grundy, Pathways, all these different avenues. There's plenty of help to be had. In the meantime, I'm just a firm believer. Go to the closest church you can find, and if you ask for help, say I'm struggling mentally, and there's no one in that church that will help you, go to JBF in Jessup, go to First Baptist in Dunkerton. We will get you in touch with some help. We will get you some counsel. Don't do it alone, because we can't do it alone. I think that's kind of what you're getting at.
Can I bring it home with a few thoughts?
Absolutely, yes.
Every time wise people, I consider you wise, speak, my brain fills up.
There you go. Yeah, bring it home, buddy. Bring it home.
I'm staring at a piece of paper that says depression, specifically for people listening to this that are followers of Jesus, believe Jesus Christ died for them. That's their ticket to heaven. I'm in that camp. Followers of Jesus can be depressed.
Right.
Or have depression.
Yep.
So if you're a holier than thou thinking, well, you've got Jesus, he should make everything all better. Sometimes we can't control what's in our genes, because I know multiple people that are way better followers of Jesus than me and are on pills for depression.
Yeah.
And these are awesome human beings that love the Lord. Just that's a part of who they are, is depression. So don't be a Jesus follower that's looking down at, well, why are you struggling with your mental health? We have Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, Jesus overcomes everything, but sometimes it's not all at once.
Well, yeah, and that doesn't mean you're not going to have the valley.
For sure.
You can't get on the top of the hill. There's going to be hills and valleys, man, no matter what.
And then with the social media, whatever, it just popped in my head, and this isn't, Nesbit thinks he's better than everybody. A big part of our society problems is selfishness, and I was thinking about this on the way here. I don't think I've ever taken a selfie. That means take a picture of myself alone with my own camera. I've been in like group selfies.
Right. When
I go teach, and they're like, let's get a photo. Mm-hmm. That's good. I will never take a picture of myself. It doesn't mean I think I'm better than everybody, but I think taking pictures of yourself is selfish.
Sure. That's what it is.
Selfish. Yeah. So that's going to anger some people, I know for sure. But every time I look at people that take a picture of themselves alone, I just laugh so hard on the inside. Like, what are you doing?
What are they saying? What's the message they're trying to convey? Look at me.
It's look at me.
I want your praise. I want your affirmation or something like that.
Maybe sometimes it's to inspire. That's great. I just will never do it. I have a streak going. I have like an iPhone 6. I don't even know if it would take a picture anymore if that thing works on it. But I will do group pictures. I don't like those either. But I'm not going to take a picture of myself.
Yeah.
I like to hide. I'm humble.
Yep.
Selfie equals selfish to me. So maybe somebody will take something from that, and I might get some hate mail at 1214 2nd Street, Jessup, Iowa.
And that's okay. Everyone knows this is the What Is Up podcast. You can come on with different views, different ideas, different opinions, and there is no need to send hate mail. If you want to send hate mail, you can send it to whatisuppodcast@gmail.com. Let's not send stuff to Ryan's house. But like, that's the platform I made for this, is people can understand that they might not like that you said that about selfies, but we can still be civil and we can respect each other's differences and things like that's the way it used to be. It didn't have to be such a heightened, polarized, now I hate you because, I have 1,000 selfies on my Instagram. Well, we can still be civil with each other. So, yeah.
Well, maybe quit taking pictures and find something better to do.
Or enlighten us. What is the point of doing that? So, I told my daughters, okay, well, now I'm going to get hate mail. Mm-hmm. I've told my daughters, I don't think I ever saw Bridget do it, but I noticed other girls doing it. But then by the time Grace got to the point where she has a phone, access to a phone, I seen her try to do it once or twice, and I nipped it in the bud right away. The selfie with the, I call it duck face, but it's like the kiss lips or whatever. Uh-huh. They pucker up their lips and take a picture. Yeah. And so Grace was a little bit younger, and I was like, we're shutting this down. I don't care if you're in a group. What are you conveying by doing that? We're already a hyper-sexualized culture. Mm-hmm. That's what all those filters on the phone are for, is to make, the women look more and more beautiful. You want to talk about mental health struggles. When kids are sexualized at a younger and younger age, you said it, their brains aren't fully formed. They're not ready for it. When you come across a kid who's consumed pornography at a younger age, at any age it's not good, but at a young age when they're not ready, you have just messed up, the natural growth cycle in their life. And I'm just like, so what are you saying by taking a picture with kiss lips to everyone to see? Like, we will not be doing that, and here's why. And Grace got it right away. She's like, but it's hard for them to understand because they see it on other social media, or they see their friends do it. And I'm just like, that's probably a dead giveaway. If everyone else is doing it, don't do it. It's not good. So, and she got it. She understood it, and she's 12, and so that was probably at least a couple of years ago. And she survived. Sometimes you got to say the harsh things, especially as a dad, but we're not just speaking to our kids on the podcast. We're speaking to everybody. Like, it might not be the best thing for you to do. Maybe instead of being, in selfie culture, maybe, like you said, I think you had said earlier, do something for somebody. See if that doesn't give you some positive feelings, some endorphin, whether it's shovel their driveway, mow their yard, flip them a $20 bill if they kind of look like they're struggling, whatever, something like that. See if that doesn't help your mental health. Because I'm betting turning the camera on yourself, that never helps anybody. I really don't think it does. But doing something, serving someone else, we all know that makes us feel good. So try that. There's our challenge right there. Take the selfies away and do something selfless. Every time you want to take a selfie, do something. I think we just started a movement.
You just old men challenge. Here we go.
No more selfies. Every time you feel like you want to take a selfie, think of somebody in your life you can do something for. Even if it's just a text to say, "Hey, I appreciate you being my friend." That's it.
Yeah.
Don't turn it on yourself. Turn it on somebody else.
We got to have some sort of reward or something, because these kids, no, we're not going to go like an hour on this, just a moment or two, but the snap streaks or whatever.
Streaks.
Get a job or something. Like, what, you got too much free time.
Yeah.
But I love this. If the next time you want to take a picture of yourself, selfish, let's think of something we can do for somebody else. 2 seconds, text, or an hour, go mow their lawn. I love it. We'll have to kick up some reward. You and I will talk. But
if you do that, meet with us at the Alive and Running. Come by the food tent. Tell me, hey, I remember. Don't approach Ryan the morning of the Alive and Running. Come find me at the food tent and say I did that, or I at least tried it for a couple weeks or a month. Where when I wanted to kind of promote myself, take a selfie or whatever, I actually did. And tell me how it went. And then when things have settled down, I'll introduce you to Ryan, and we'll give you a pat on the back, maybe a shout out or something. Definitely, that's about the best we can do. What else can we give them?
This could be an adult or two. I mean, we'll give you something. We'll take it. I'll take you on vacation with me or something. If this is like a teenager that does like a 3 or 4 month, like, I was so disciplined to do what you guys said, we'll find something big.
We'll get you a T-shirt. Well, definitely.
I'll maybe let you court my daughter. I'm just kidding.
Oh, my goodness.
You got to pass a whole bunch of tests to do that. But if people,
here we go with the Match.com thing again.
If people are listening like, what on earth? I thought this was a mental health thing. This totally ties in the selfishness, the go do stuff for others, because I get great joy in life from helping other people. So this is totally a mental health thing as we kind of bring this home. So it's a great challenge, but so much joy from helping other people.
Yep.
It makes me happy. And I'm not Jesus Christ here. I believe in Jesus Christ. I'm just Ryan Nesbit from Dunkerton, Iowa, that lives in Jessup, Iowa. But I know on this planet we should be helping people.
Yeah.
Because people help me.
Yeah.
So if everybody would put their stinking phone down and go help somebody, what's that culture look like? Whoa.
Right.
Holy cow, man.
So you tell me, when you guys come back from mission trips in the summer with the teenage youth group, tell me that they're not in a better mental space. I know they are.
They certainly should be, and I think they learn, like, I can breathe without looking at my phone every 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's, and a mission trip coming up this summer. But challenge yourself, the selfie thing, or I'm going to spend less time on Instagram. This is for adults, too. I'm going to spend less time on Facebook. Maybe I'm going to try to not look at my phone for 12 hours. I'm talking to my wife. I love you, honey. But
screen fast.
This hits everybody.
Yeah.
These phones didn't exist 30, 40 years ago, whatever. How did we survive? Well, somehow we did.
We did, yeah.
And we had more time to do stuff as families and vacations. It's all consuming. It's just going to get worse, and I know the teenagers aren't listening now because they're like, these old dudes don't know nothing.
They went back to the chatter. Yeah, we think you got to maybe go backwards to go forwards a little bit. So that's why I ask you. You see it. You say things aren't getting better. People are getting help, but as a whole, things aren't getting better. Well, why is that? What direction are we heading? Maybe we need to go a different direction, try something different. Mm-hmm. Just that takes common sense. You don't have to have a doctorate to understand that. If things aren't getting better, what we're doing isn't working. So we need to maybe try something different.
For sure. The screen time, you could look up all kinds of articles about the negative effects on mental health.
Right.
And it's go. I got to check this, got to check this. I got to keep up. I got to like this. Slow down, people. Slow down.
I told my kids and wife, I said, the only streak I care about is on my Bible app. I like to keep that thing rolling. That way I'm checking in one verse a day, which is not near enough. Get in the Word, do a devotion, actually read it. But at least set it up, download the Bible app, and set it up to send you a verse every single day at whatever time you want, and get that streak going. You know what I mean? I've had years go by where I miss it one day a year, or I didn't miss it that year, so I had 600 and some days. That's the only streak I care about.
That's impressive.
And to tie it in with the Robertsons, I remember Jace Robertson. He said nobody's that important. Like he's blown away when they do an event, whether it's at a church or a civic center or a duck call show, whatever. He says people wait in line for autographs. He goes, nobody's that important to me. I wouldn't wait in line for anybody but Jesus Christ. That's it. So I'm blown away. He goes, nobody's that special.
Right.
So, and I guess that's
awesome, man. Just one last thought. I thank you for doing this, and you're doing this podcast, and I hope it starts to spread. Whether people are just entertained by it, it's good to laugh.
That's good medicine
there's
too.
Some good humor. Whether it's inspiring to followers of Jesus, we always need that.
Right.
Whether this reaches some adult or kid that's like, man, all these people that come on here kind of start talking about Jesus. And
At some point or another.
They kind of seem happy, and like, I wonder what that's all about.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a chance for them to be like, I want to look into that.
That's right.
So whatever way it affects you, I'm supposed to be the mental health guy. Everyone should know how to find us. But hopefully there's a few things in these episodes that you're like, whoa, I never knew that.
Didn't know that,
like,
yeah.
Hey, there's 988, or hey, Nesbit lives in Jessup, and he's like, you can come in our house. You can come in our house anytime. Well, not from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m., preferably, unless you know me. But he's talking about adult men should talk to each other about feelings. Yeah.
Yeah.
And go do it. So there's hopefully something you picked up, but just take care of each other. The world's rough.
Yep.
I live in tiny Buchanan County, Iowa, in Jessup, Iowa. It's rough, man.
Yeah.
I got 3 kids in a foreign exchange, and there's stuff happening. And there's a youth group, and we're going day by day, but we're living. And I try to choose joy, and that's possible because I have Jesus.
There you go.
I'm not perfect at all, but I have Jesus. So in the end, guess what? I'm on the winning team.
That's right.
And that's all I got to say.
We're going to get into something else that's been on his mind here a little bit, and that is money and trying to, how can we get ahead as middle class? Most people I know are middle class anyway. I don't know a lot of upper class people. But what's up with that? Like, how come if we're working, and especially if we're double income homes and things like that? So that's been on his mind a lot lately. So Ryan, why don't you tell me what is up with money?
There's never enough. That's what. Isn't that the answer?
There's not. Just ask the government to print you some more. That's kind of what we do.
So if you're listening to this third episode, this is a gentle nudge. If you're like, man, I thought he was the suicide prevention guy. Why are they leading off talking about money? Go back to episode 1.
Yes.
A lot of that was alive and running, suicide prevention. Kind of the finish here in a little bit of this episode will be the mental health. And then the second episode was just kind of having a good time in Bubba's basement. But a lot of it actually ended up being mental health stuff because it all ties in. But the money, you got to know where I'm coming from. This is a 48-year-old Caucasian male. This is the Midwest. This is Buchanan County, Iowa, Jessup, Iowa. A family of 3, now 4 this year with a foreign exchange student from 12 to 17 age range. We got some expenses, Bubba, in our house.
It's tight, huh?
And the number one would be called the food. Oh, man. Especially with a 15-year-old boy that is running 30 to 50 miles a week, probably training for track and cross country, the amount of calories burnt and food intake, and the fact that we're the volunteer youth group leaders, and we love when kids come to our house. Mm-hmm. So they do. And what's the thing they do when they come to your house?
Clean out the pantry.
They eat.
Fridge.
And they eat a lot, which is good. We'd love more to come. So it's something that's been on my mind a lot. I have 3 jobs throughout the year. I work for UPS now 6 weeks a year in the winter. I work corn detasseling each summer with Noel McMillan. We run the business, and then the rest of the year I teach suicide intervention trainings. We're not going to go into, well, I wonder exactly how much money he makes.
Yeah, we don't got to do that.
Well, that's none of your business. I think I am blessed, and my wife makes way more money than me as an accountant, work from home. But something on my mind is, what are we supposed to do, man? Because you just can't get ahead.
Right.
And it seems no matter how much you make, and then here comes a new bill.
Yep.
Or maybe your kid blows out their ACL in a basketball game, which did happen. And you go, well, there goes $8,000 on the spot to meet our deductible. Or the piece of junk car.
The cars.
Needs help.
Yeah.
Or you live in a house that's 20 years old like ours, and every winter you're like, is this the year the furnace goes?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it going to be next year?
Yeah.
Because that's coming, and it's just a constant, and that can drain you, and it can stress you, and then that can cause strain on your marriage. So I'm really getting to a place near 50 of just as a faith base, just saying God's in control.
Yep.
So if you're listening thinking, what, all Nesbits are going to move to like Kenya now and live in a tent? I've brought it up a few times. Trust me. Well, that'd be that sounds awesome to me, to just help people all day. And we don't have to worry about all this garbage in the American dream. But it's stressful, man. I have to learn daily when a new bill comes, and we have stupid, selfish bills, Disney, Netflix, Prime, all that stuff. It's here's this cost. Oh, Ryan wants to watch this game, and now it's only on Peacock, so we have to subscribe for a month to watch one football game at $7.
NFL, get it together. That's not right.
And all this, it's just money, and now to watch some college football. Now you have to have ESPN, so it's just another bill. Gas is $3.09. Groceries are this. Why is orange juice $7.49, Bubba? Like, it should be like $2.50.
Inflation.
So this is the life we're in, so I have to choose stress. Am I just going to be stressed? When do we retire? Or just breathe?
Yeah.
Because usually, I should have my wife talking. When I get really worked up about money, I will honestly go to her and say, we need to give money to somebody.
So you
out
feel
of nowhere.
better? Like,
then
and just know it's not a...
It like relaxes me, because you're like, what? When you're stressed about money and it's not going well, you're saying you guys go give money to someone and help them? And I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes me feel good, makes me relax, and then usually, weirdly, bad things don't happen for a while. I'm not saying that God's like, oh, Nesbits gave away money, let's let them have the perfect life for 4 months. We're not going to start preaching the prosperity gospel. I'm not going to go into that.
No, we're not doing that. But it is biblical. I mean, God says, test me in this way. You know what I mean?
Right.
See if you're not generous, if I don't, what does he say? Open up the stored treasures of heaven and pour out a blessing on you. But what you're doing, you're kind of doing what a lot of therapists and counselors do. You're tricking your brain. By doing that, you are saying, and this is like a technique that they all use, you're retraining your brain by giving. That's good. See, when I put these shock mounts on here, you could hit that and you wouldn't even hear nothing. But I'm not there yet. I haven't bought any equipment. So what you're doing is you're tricking your brain. You're training your brain into thinking, if I'm stressing about this money, and now I'm going to give some of it away, whether it's charity or someone who needs it or someone less fortunate, you are now tricking your brain into thinking it must not be that important if I'm doing this. And that's exactly what you said Solomon gets to. Solomon was wealthier than everybody, and he comes, it's all vanity, or your version says meaningless. It's not. The world tells us, like you said, you got to have a piece of paper to be successful. You have to have this 4-year degree or you're going to be lower middle class. I'm sorry, lower middle class isn't that bad. Yeah, things are tight sometimes, but yeah, you start to let go of that. Go out there, make your money. If you don't have that huge nest egg built up, just give it time. Sell a dog or two for Pete's sake. I'm getting tired of this. I need to soundproof the ceiling, but I'm going to leave that one in there. But I love my wife. I love her pets. That was half true. I love my wife. But, man. Okay. But yeah, I mean, that's... I can see why you would do that. You are training your brain to say it must not be that important if I'm going to go ahead and give some of it away. But yeah, I get it. The thing that gets me is, and like your dad and our that generation and even older, they definitely remember you could do one income, one factory working or one farming family, and you could have a car and you could pay all your bills and, maybe even take one vacation every year. And it seemed like you could just do more. I get it. I'm not trying to be dumb. The dollar doesn't go as far these days. I get it. They made way less hourly and salaried back then, but things cost less. I understand basic economics. But it seems like it didn't keep up. How is that possible that you and me, dual income families, I mean, we're doing okay, but we're worried about, trying to get ahead because, when those car bills come or this, it is just one after another. How did they do it back then on like one income back in the 50s and before, and they had a nice little house and car and family and the same thing we have now, but it's just everything's way tighter. I do think about that too myself.
So I mean, there's a lot to it. It's all this high school sports stuff. I love sports. I love my kids in sports. Do we have to have a $37 sweatshirt for every single sport, and we have to order 17 of them for all the family? And maybe I'm saying stuff that my wife's not going to like, so I better stop talking. But I got to the point of I've got enough Jessup gear. My weight is not going to fluctuate. I don't need every single one unless it says we won state title. Then I'm going to buy that one.
Yeah, all right.
But this is, $133 here, $212. It's just, breathe. Let's go help somebody.
Okay.
Can I fill up somebody's gas tank? So don't listen to this thing. Oh, dude, I know where you live in Jessup. You got a nice house. Yes, I do. And I have busted my butt working since like age 3.
Right.
So when you can outwork me, which I only know one person on this planet that can, and I married her, then you can talk. So there's a wide range of this. Just hopefully people get the message of if you're stressing and it's causing problems, go help somebody. Mm-hmm. Just go buy them a $5 cheeseburger or something.
Yeah.
It's one way to, okay, now I'm $5 lower than I was, but I feel good.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a blessing and a benefit to that for sure, a stress relief.
Or it can go a lot higher. And there's plenty of nonprofits you can help. If you're listening to this and you're like, I'm a little bit stressed about money, but I got a ton of money. Alive and Running Iowa gladly takes checks anytime. And I'm sure the What Is Up team would say, we will take a check from you gladly.
Buy some shirts, do something. I want to return this borrowed equipment and buy my own one of these days. For sure. Yeah. Yeah,
And this ties in, and then we'll maybe wrap it up. Actually, my least favorite holiday is Christmas. I love the birth of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite holiday is Easter, because that's when he died and rose.
Yeah.
For
that's
me,
the big one.
I can't stand Christmas because it's turned into money. Mm-hmm. And there's just so much money that gets spent, and there's so much stress.
Yeah.
We're forgetting the whole point.
Yeah, it's a chore to focus on the meaning of Christmas and enjoy family time and things like that. Yeah, I agree 100%. I used to love the way it used to be. I mean, man, dinner at Grandma and Grandpa's on Christmas Eve and go to church and that. And me and Sarah, when we started, when you're young, you don't have money. And I realized how happy we were. And we didn't even we were living in a trailer in the trailer courts in Dunkerton. We maybe spent $100 on each other tops. And man, we just loved it. We did everything else. We did whatever the church was doing. We went and watched Christmas movies or did this or that. Went and drove around, looked at lights. That don't cost you anything but gas. Gas is expensive, but yeah, man, it's tough. I even had a poll question on an episode here where I said, do you think, because I had made the statement, if I ever ran for office, I'd try and pass legislation that outlawed all Black Friday sales before 6 a.m. on Black Friday. No more of this night before stuff. Thanksgiving, let's hang with the family. Let's look at the Black Friday ads. Hit it hard in the morning if you want to, if that's your thing. But stop this. People are cutting out of Thanksgiving dinner to get to town, or the online sales are starting. Focus on the family and the meaning of Christmas. It's way more enjoyable, I think, anyway. But I guess I'm old-fashioned.
No, I agree. I'm going to hit one other thing on that. Going back to early marriage, we lived in a junk apartment in Grinnell, Iowa. Okay. With a junk vehicles and could survive. It's just crazy. So the summary, what the kicker is having children, because they're like 150 to 200 grand each to raise. So if you're young and you're listening to this like, man, I'm never going to have money. Hey, kids are awesome, but life tip, don't have kids and maybe you have a better chance to have some money. Possibly. But I love my children dearly. But they cost a lot of money.
They do.
A lot.
Man, I was watching a podcast or listening to a podcast, and they were talking about what you're talking about is dinks. Dual income, no kids. You go watch or listen to a couple of their testimonies, and you'll probably quickly realize, they're missing out on tremendous blessings in life. Right. And some people can't have kids, so, and I get that. But listening to these people talk about how proud that they were, that they built up all this wealth and they can do whatever they want to do. It's like at some point, you're going to find out that it didn't quite fulfill. You can only go to so many concerts, and you can only I mean, that freedom is nice. It sounds tempting. We've done a lot with our kid. You throw them in a van, you go to the Mall of America, you go to Nebraska, you do this, do that. You can find ways to have joy and stuff, and still be, not have a huge thing in the bank to retire on or whatever. I was reading a devotion this morning. I wish I would have brought it down here because it spoke specifically to that, how Satan will kind of, in our own flesh, will just want us to focus on that dollar amount, that nest egg, retirement, or, just all that stuff. And it was like, that's just a way he's getting in there and trying to distract you to focus more on that rather than what God has actually created for you and laid out for you to do. And like you said, that was a perfect example. Go do something for someone else when you're stressed about money, and it will kind of take that away possibly. And Pastor Ron told a good story. I know a lot of people that say if they see the guy on the corner of San Martin with the sign or wherever, asking for money or whatever, sometimes the best thing you can do is say, I'm not going to give you money, but I'll take you to go get something to eat. Let's go get something to eat. I'm not going to give you money. Pastor Ron was doing this thing where he would drive people to doctor's appointments. And so he'd just wait in the car or whatever. And he had a guy in the parking lot was holding up a sign or whatever. And he said, I need money. And he said, I had what did he say? He had like $100 bill and a $5 bill in his wallet. And he's like, and he never has $100 bills, but he just knew looking at this guy, he's like, I had to do it. I had to do it. I felt convicted to do it. And I normally don't. And he says, I come away from that thing thinking, carry smaller bills in your wallet. And that was Pastor Ron. That was real life. It was that struggle. And you don't know what they're going to do with that money or whatever. But sometimes giving is just the right thing to do. And sometimes it isn't. I'm not trying to say do that every time. See, I'm just trying to share a story. Sometimes it's not. But definitely doing stuff for other people and being generous, like you said, just trusting God with it, saying, my retirement is going to be there. If I meant to retire, we're going to meet our bills. We're not going to lose our roof over our head. And even if we do, what did Paul say? I know what it is to have a lot. I know what it is to have a little. And if we're being honest, if you and me as followers of Christ are walking the walk that we talk, we aren't going to worry about it. Or when those worries come, we're going to pass it on to the Lord and say, yeah, that's yours. Help me deal with that. And that's it. But I like your, the notes you sent me, man. Just trust God, give to the church, give to charity, do what he puts on your heart, and consistently help and support others. And it'll all work out in the end. I mean, they say once the kids are gone, we actually, guys like us, families like us, we will build wealth rather quickly. They say that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when we get there. I
hope they're right.
But I'd rather wait and gamble on that being right than doing the dual income, no kids thing.
The dinks.
I absolutely would. I mean, they just sound so lost.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. But
different life.
Yeah.
And be in touch, folks, if you're at this, because I think the number one reason kind of for divorce in the U.S., one of the biggest factors is like money arguments.
Yep, money.
So if we can convince our brains, our hearts, our souls to give it to God, but then also, I'm still stressed, let's just go help somebody.
Sure.
Even if it's $5, sometimes it's like, hey, let's give somebody $500, but just little tiny things. And one last tie-in on that, don't do it at Starbucks. I hear these stories all the time. Oh, we're going to pay for the person behind me at Starbucks. Okay. Those people don't need your money. If you're buying Starbucks coffee, you're doing pretty good. Your nose is already up in the air. So
it's getting real, folks.
Do it somewhere real, like go to Hy-Vee.
That's what I was going to say. Yes. Here's a good ministry for that right there. Go around, to tie into your Christmas thing.
Right.
Go to Walmart around Christmas time. You will pick out the people who look like they're not doing as well, but they're in there. Me, Bridget, and Grace went, not this past Christmas, but the one before. They always come with me on Christmas Eve to finish their shopping. It's just our tradition. Some church in Cedar Falls, they may have even told the girls where they were from. I went to look for something that they couldn't see, I think. Well, it was probably something for them. So I went, and them two, just Bridget and Grace. So Bridget, she's super short. She probably looks like she's a high schooler. And then this other girl, a little bit shorter. They just look like these girls were down and out, or maybe a broken home, or what are these two young girls doing here by themselves? This church approaches them. These people approach them from this church, give them some Walmart gift cards, and say, can we pray for you? prayed for them right then and there. I come back, and they have this look on their face like God just blessed us, but those people were just mistaken. Like, we're not well off by any means, but we didn't need, they were looking to really bless people who needed it. And they told them, like, hey, they're like, oh, just let us do this. Is there any specific need we can pray? And I was like, what a heck of a ministry. Yeah, don't pay for the person's coffee behind you. Go do that. Go to the Waterloo Walmart. You will find somebody who can use, a hand up. So, that was super. Those girls will never forget that moment, being generous and just completely selfless. So, but coming back to being selfless and stuff like that, let's wrap up the importance of, Alive and Running and your efforts in mental health and everything you guys have done. I think in the first couple episodes, somewhere we mentioned a lot about where they can find you, find help. We said Alive and Running website. We said Alive and Running Facebook. We talked about the 5K event. That's always Father's Day weekend in Dunkerton, but it's not just for runners. You can come Friday night. There's a ceremony more for the people who want community and healing and support and things like that. And there's always a good speaker. And then you do stuff throughout the year. You said you're in schools, you're doing training, you're talking to our kids, you're trying to, increase their mental health, get it on a healthy level and things like that. What else do we want to hit here at the end as we close out?
Yeah, well, I'm so glad I got to do this. This is, I think, half of my lower body's asleep as I'm becoming a part of this chair in your basement. So
it's a big, comfy chair, folks. Don't let them fool you.
I might just move in for a week. Man, we covered a lot of stuff. The big summary is obviously Alive and Running Iowa on the website is not going to show, here's a picture of Jesus Christ, so those guys, they're all Bible thumping, stay away from them. Well, I'll thump Bible once in a while. I'm follower of Jesus. I believe in Jesus, but I'd help anybody. Yeah. If you spit in my face and say, I don't believe in your God, whatever, I'm struggling, I'm still going to sit and talk to you because you're a human being. But what you need to know, if you're not turning to faith, or maybe even you have faith and are struggling.
And you're doubt,
Shocking news, there are born-again Christians, followers of Jesus, that are strong in their faith, and they have severe depression. Yep. That's okay, because I know some personally, and there will be people who will mislead you on that. Well, you can't be depressed if you follow Jesus, or you can't be anxious, or you can't struggle. John 16:33, Jesus says, in this world you will have tribulation. Tribulation, and I could interpret that as meaning anxiety, depression. So we're going to have trouble. So don't judge your fellow brother and sister in Christ, or any of you that are not following Jesus because they're struggling. We got to take care of each other.
Absolutely.
For sure. But seek help. I don't know how many times we've said the number 988. That's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. You can call or text 24/7. Everybody can use this number. The big myth is I can only call that number if I'm standing on a bridge ready to jump. That's what most people think. Okay. That is totally incorrect. That's about 2% of their calls. Very small amount. 988 is for everyone. It could be a kid that can't get through the school day without, oh my gosh, my anxiety is so high and I'm so angry and I just want to lash out. Call or text.
Call the number.
Like 5 minutes. Breathe. There's kids I know that do it like in the bathroom between class. Way better to be texting 988 than to be vaping in the bathroom, which is happening in a lot of schools. Truth. For sure. So 988 is a great, great resource to use. And most people, unfortunately, think you have to be highly suicidal to use it. No. You just have to be a human who's having struggle, which is all of us. Yeah. You can use it anytime. Yeah. And then Alive and Running, look us up. We're just trying to help people and expand, but a big core message, and I want to get this in at the end for sure. If you're listening to this and you're an adult man, specifically an adult Caucasian man, that's who's dying by suicide in the U.S., and that is who's dying by suicide in Iowa. The bulk of the suicide loss in this country is me and you. I'm a 48-year-old white guy. You're 42-year-old white guy. We're kind of right in the middle of it. Are other races, ethnicities, genders, etc. dying by suicide, teenagers? Yep, but a big number of the total, about 50,000 that die in the U.S. we're right in the middle, man. Okay. It's the adult white dudes. So the message, you got to talk to each other. You have to have a brother. I'm lovingly pushing you here that you can talk to more stuff than just we love the Chiefs.
Yeah.
How about that weather? What'd you eat this week? Our usual surface level. Two brothers that love each other, that are real friends, should talk about like, hey man, I'm kind of struggling with something.
Yeah, go deeper.
Or like, hey man, I'm not really getting along with my wife and we've been married 14 years. Or
yeah,
we have to learn as adult men to do this, because I think that's a big part of why
that's why those numbers are up.
The bulk of who we're losing to suicide is the adult Caucasian male, because we don't learn how to talk about it when we're teens about feelings, and it just goes into adulthood.
Sure.
That's a big reason we get divorced and a whole bunch of other things. So
right.
If you're a dude listening, try to have at least one dude in your life that you can like talk openly with. Maybe it's your pastor. Maybe it's your actual blood brother. Maybe it's your neighbor.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a high school friend. You gotta share this stuff, because we don't want to lose any more lives.
Right.
So 1,000 ways to find us. I hope people are motivated. I'm glad we got to do this. It's good to see Bubba for a few hours. He's looking at me like, I really think Ryan's going to take a nap in the chair because he looks really tired. It's the end of a grinder.
Yeah.
But share this, support Bubba and all his work, and maybe someday he'll be doing this in like New York City or something. No, I don't. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
He's a Midwest boy.
That's right. Man, lots of good truth in there for sure. Well, dude, I got to thank you for coming on. I'm glad you got a chance to share your stuff and your message and everything. And we're blowing up in the high school circuit, right, James? Yep. So, these kids are going to hear that message. I mean, they all already know you anyway, but I know it'll be encouraging. I know your honesty and your openness, it will definitely encourage a lot of people. So, and that's one of my goals with this podcast, is encourage people by letting them share their stories, share their opinions, but also go a little bit deeper too, and that's why I said, this neckties and degrees don't make you an expert. Ryan is an expert in this because he's lived it. He's dealt with it. He can share his experience and tell you this is what worked for him. Okay. He tried everything else. You don't believe him, or you don't believe me, just ask him. He'll tell you just how far down the road he got and what brought him back. Okay. And he wouldn't be doing what he's doing if he didn't care about you. Okay, we could be doing plenty of other things on our Sunday afternoon, but we're sitting down here doing this because we know it might help one person. So that's it. But yeah, it's always good to go deeper and start thinking about things. And that's why I just asked this question. Have you been looking around at things in the last few years or maybe even longer and asking yourself, what is up with that? Why is that happening? Why? I know I have, and there's plenty to choose from. One of the things recently is the National Women's Law Center president, Fatima Graves, saying female athletes should learn to lose gracefully to biological men in sports. I gotta ask, what is up with that? Why are we telling women they need to learn to lose to biological men in sports? That's why we separate them. Shouldn't those men be the ones learning to lose gracefully in their own sports? And I know they have a mental problem. I've studied this. I've shared this. We've talked about this plenty. I'm in this stuff all the time, trying to understand what's coming at my kids and what's coming downstream in culture. Or how about this one? How about the more recent disturbing situation in Montana? Just happened this week, where the Montana State's, we would call it DHS, it's Child and Family Services, took a gender-confused teen from her father, Todd Kolstad, and stepmother, Krista, for not affirming her new personality and new gender. What is up with that? How can they take a kid from a house? Hopefully there's not more to the situation if the kid was being abused or something like that. But just on the basis of not affirming a new gender, when we've always regarded gender dysphoria as a mental illness, they took the kid from the parents. I would hate to have somebody try and do that in my house. I really would. It would not go well. We've always regarded this as a mental illness up until recent years. And now, without proof or evidence or years of positive research, we're going to start taking kids from their homes if the parents don't comply with the government's recommendations. Think how hard it would be for you, to know your child for years, just as God created them, and then because they become confused at some point in their life, they want to start presenting as something different and no longer be the person you've known them to be. How easy would it be for you to lie to that child or to that person and affirm them as this new person of their own choosing? Would it be easy for you to do that? It'd be very, very hard for me. I don't think I could do it. I look at my kids, I see exactly who God created them to be. If they want to be something different, I know there's a problem there, and we need to address that and get some treatment and some counseling. I don't think I could lie to them. Could you say goodbye to that son or daughter you've always known and let them possibly go down the road of having surgeries and mutilating their bodies or taking these cross-sex hormones in an attempt to become somebody else? Well, apparently in some states, you say goodbye to your child as you know them and let them go down that road of self-harm and illusion, or you say goodbye to them because the state's going to come and take them from your house because you're not fit. You have the problem. There's a way to treat this condition. How about we listen to those people who have been down that road and turn back to the truth of who they really are? There's lots of people out there. They're just not getting these news interviews. People like Daisy Strong and Abel Garcia from the D-Trans documentary on PragerU. Check it out. Or how about Laura Perry Smaltz, the author of Transgender to Transformed? Or Scott Nugent from the What is a Woman documentary? Or Walt Heyer, founder of SexChangeRegret.com? Listen to their stories. They've been there. They struggled. They came through it. One of the main reasons I started this podcast was to encourage people in our crazy world. But I also wanted to have some fun, share our stories, share our experiences and opinions. But the real goal is to get people to look to God and His Word when they see things that have them asking, what is up? Or when life gets hard and we feel like giving up or calling it quits on our marriage or maybe turning to alcohol or drugs. Those times are going to come for most of us at some point. We're going to have struggles. We talked about that. How are we going to respond? How are you going to get through? Where are you going to go for truth and encouragement? What is your foundation for life? Where does your hope lie? Matthew chapter 7, Jesus said, "Therefore everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, the winds blew and beat against the house, yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words, these teachings of Jesus, and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And when the rain came down, and the streams rose, and the winds blew, and beat against the house on the sand, there was a great crash." So if you're searching for answers or guidance or direction, maybe some purpose or peace in your life, I want to encourage you to look up. Look to God and His Word, and He will show you what is up. And I'll even help you get started. It's real simple. The most important question we all got to answer is, who is Jesus? And what's my relationship with Him? So I'll just start right there. If you start there, you are on the right path. And it's really quite simple. Romans 3:23, we've all sinned. We're all a little messed up. Even the ones that look like they got it all together. Nope, we all got a sin problem. And in just a few chapters later, it says, and the consequences for that sin means you're not right with God. You're not getting into heaven. But the gift that God offers is eternal life through Christ Jesus. Jesus said we must be born again. No matter what we've done or what's in our past or where we're at right now, you could be in the messiest situation of your life right now, and there's a way out. And it's nothing you can actually do or earn. Ephesians 2:8-10 tells us that. It is a gift of God. It's not of works. You don't earn it. Okay? If you could earn it, what did Jesus come here for? Jesus said in John chapter 14, verse 6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me. That is truth. If you need more help or want to know more, you can join me any Sunday at FBC in Dunkerton, or you can go to Ryan's Church in Jessup and listen to Pastor Clint, Jessup Bible Fellowship. Or if you're not in the area, check out our live stream on Facebook. We'd love to see you this summer in the Dunkerton Alive and Running 5K for suicide prevention and awareness. You can always leave a comment in the comment section. You can email me if you got questions, whatisuppodcast@gmail.com. I'll personally share the gospel with you so you can know for sure that God is real, He knows you're struggling, and He loves you and wants a relationship with you. Ryan gave out his stinking phone number. You can call him. You can call the suicide hotline.
988.
988. 3 numbers. You can do that. You can get help. There is help out there. I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. I know I did, all 3 of them. Go back and listen to all of Ryan's episodes if you didn't. And don't forget to share it wherever you listen. Check out our Facebook, our Instagram for more information, maybe some videos, pictures, giveaways that we might have coming up. Send me your comments. I'd love to share them. I'd like to do a future episode where I do nothing but read comments or emails if I could get enough people to email me. It's not happening. Maybe the kids aren't using email nowadays. I don't know, but be sure to answer the Q&A and poll questions that I'll put in the show description. I'll probably have something good in there for Ryan. And tell your friends about the best new podcast on the market. Post it to your social media. if I happen to see you do that, you may just win a prize. You never know. Ryan has inspired me to be generous, so maybe I'll send you something. I don't know. Let's grow this audience this year, and let's see what God does with it. Lord willing, I'll see you on the next one.